With power production and consumption on our homeworld teetering on the brink of balance, we're somehow managing to make rapid progress towards the next technology milestones. So, in the meantime, it's time to see what other snags we can clear up while that is getting itself done in the background. Hello, Legion. This is Hadrian. Thank you for being here. Let's play some more Dyson Sphere Program in our Alpha Andromedae series. So we're almost at full speed here, returning to the homeworld. We have a fresh shipment, not only of electromagnetic turbines, but also titanium ingots, both necessary for the production of some of the goods we are getting going on our home planet. You can really see the difference that having clouds in the game makes to like how the planets look from afar. It's not perfect yet. I'm sure they'll continue to polish it as they do everything in the game. But you can see them even from this far out, which I love. They don't pop in as you get closer. They probably have some LOD, level of detail, as is normal. Nice. Mecha Core level 3. So now I have some additional max energy, and you can see the bar increase in size there, even as we move. Crater landing. Oh, splashdown. Unintentional, but I'll take it. So how are we doing on power now? That's the question. Okay, it seems like our power situation is stabilized somewhat. That might partially be because the energy or the hydrogen fuel rods that I put into my power plants are still working a little bit. No, they're not. It's just, maybe it's because some of the production apparatus has slowed down. That's possible. But let's take a look at our oil refining now that we're back. Well, there's a couple things I need to drop off first. So let's go ahead and put some titanium in here. All right, that's all of our titanium, and that will help with the production of titanium crystals, obviously. And then here we have these. So we have electromagnetic turbines, both of which will be heavily imported in the future. Let's take a look at our oil situation, because we have had a bit of a problem keeping that up. And it seems like even though I built this buffer, yeah, so it's the same problem as before. The buffer is not doing enough to slow down this process. So essentially what I might need to do is start burning some of this excess coal. I know that seems strange, but I need to get this moving a little faster. And I also need to resolve my power situation. Ironically, one of the ways that I can do that is by building additional power plants to consume the good, which is a power-related good, that is causing a snag in the resource line, which is causing the oil refining apparatus to slow down. So it's a roundabout way of solving the main power problem, which also provides additional power, thereby doubly solving the problem. Cool. We're going to roll with it. But I'm not going to do too much. We're going to play it fairly safe here. So let's see. I guess I'll build the line first. Will it let me build one here? Yes, it will. Although it's not going to let me put it over that water line. So there we go. Best way to build these is probably something like this. I'm going to leave a little bit of extra room here just in case I need to have more water pumping in the future. Thankfully, I do have several thermal power plants, so let's see, right here. 3, 4. I might need to do a little bit of extra building here. We'll see how this goes. Fingers crossed. Nope, we're golden. Perfect. So now we will... And we'll have to keep a close eye on this just to make sure it's not burning it too quickly. But essentially what happened is that this buffer, which is now feeding into this power plant, so it's going to help drain out the buffer as well. This buffer only temporarily solved the problem. And when I returned to say, hey, how's this doing since I fixed it? The problem had unfixed itself because the buffer was full. That's life. That's just how things go. So that does give us lots of additional power to make sure that things stay at maximum efficiency, and it allows us to burn through a little bit more of this. The question is it fast enough? This is how we find out. So these in front of me and behind me, these three are emptying out. The ones in the back have already emptied themselves. That's a good sign. So how much do we have stored right now? None. So this one is, you can see this slowly starting. There's still 20 stored here. I think it's going fast enough. And that's actually pretty good. That's not too fast, but it's fast enough. This is a great way. You can use that trick just about any line in the game. You can watch the lines, and we talked about this very early in the series. You can watch the lines to get a sense for how is my production doing. You know, obviously you want lines to be full, but moving. That's really the ideal situation. If you have lines that are empty and moving, then what that means is that maybe you have maximum efficiency because you're pulling everything off of the line as soon as you're putting it on. But that also means that there's no backup. There's nothing there waiting on the line for anything that might slow down or snag. And it's good to have a little bit of backup. That's why, you know, long lines like the line I have set up for the energetic graphite can come in handy, because they are a form of storage in and of themselves. And then, of course, as I mentioned last episode, when the spaghetti gets complicated, you can build logistic spots. So now with that problem being solved, another thing we should start to see is our generation capacity should continue to rise now that more oil is being produced. Now, I built some additional refiners, but I haven't quite put them in place yet. Let's go ahead and do that. Nice. So we have a logistics stack multiplier there and an additional line of inventory capacity. That came at a great freaking time, let me tell you. I'm happy about that. Okay, so that's going to cover just about everything. Oh, wrong way. Wrong way, obviously. Oh, you know what I could have done there? I could have just reversed the direction of the belts, and that might have actually fixed it. Let me try that. So if I wanted to have a line intentionally going the wrong way, and then I was like, oh crap, what do I do? Flip whole path. Okay, so it still hasn't built a connection there. So that problem wouldn't fix itself, but that makes sense. That makes sense. All right, so we have some new refineries here, which need to be pulling in oil. And then we're going to close that. Refined oil, hydrogen. Refined oil, hydrogen. Refined oil, hydrogen. Glorious. All right, so the question is, with that uptick in production and with things generally looking better, let's glance back at these and make sure that we do indeed, yeah, we're really starting to get to a point where, see, the very last one is emptying out. It still has some in its storage, 11, but it's slowly draining. So what that means is now we're pretty much running at full speed, even though, this is good, even though the energetic graphite is still backed up. So now that we've done that, let's go ahead and take a look at the Proliferator Paint Mark II situation, which requires diamonds. So diamonds are being produced here and sent that way. And obviously we have more than enough of them. So why not go ahead, and this will also help us consume, what I'm about to do will also help us consume more. So why don't we, I'm going to build a 2-stage sorter here. When I said consume more, I mean consume more energetic graphite, to be specific. So it will further solve the problem that I'm attempting to solve right now. All right, so we're going to have diamond going off this direction. We'll have to navigate slightly, or maybe we won't. Maybe we can just do this. Yeah, that's what we'll do. So we'll have it come this way. I do also have level 3 belts available to me, but I haven't yet set up the manufacturing for the goods that require them. I can do so quite soon, but I want to make sure that I've finished solving this particular issue that I'm solving at the moment. And having the Proliferator Paint Mark II in position feels like a major component of that. Alright, so we're going to move this all the way here. It's quite a long line. Oh, we're out of building range, because that's how far I went. Hang on, let's make sure that we do this one step at a time. There we go. So we'll have to walk back along here. Notice it is automatically lowering and raising things for me, which is quite kind of it. I appreciate it. So why don't I go ahead and... yeah, here's what I'll do. All right, now this is going to come this direction. All right, looks like we are possibly not producing enough iron anymore. Now, we are improving veins utilization soon, so rather than doing anything about this, let's see how this research solution, plays out. Also, what's going on with my research? Hold on. We'll build the rest of that line momentarily. What are we low on? Are you out of titanium again? Oh my gosh, that was fast. That was really fast. I need to get more titanium. Holy crap. Okay. Well, let's finish building this, and then we'll go get more titanium. Really need to move towards interplanetary logistics as soon as possible so that this is not as big of a thing. I think what I'll do is bring back a much larger shipment. So let's go ahead and get this built. I want to get the Proliferator Paint Mark II set up before I leave. And then we're going to go get some titanium. Okay. Perfect. I have 2, and that's how many I want to make. So let's set them like so. I could potentially have more later on, so I'll just put that there for now. You are going to make Proliferator Paint Mark II. Now what I'll do... this is interesting. So, in this case, this is really interesting. I don't have to have different kinds of paint on different lines here. It's not required. And I'm just realizing this, but watch. I'm going to go ahead and have these diamonds absorbed here. And we'll have these Mark II Proliferator paints absorbed here. And, well, I don't know. Now that I think about it, hang on. Now that I think about it, I think I might prefer to have it on 2 separate lines, just to keep them distinct from one another. So just by having better paint on the line, starting right now, those will automatically improve all of the proliferating operations that we have set up. By how much? It'll double the bonuses. It'll also more than double the power consumption. So that'll be interesting. But we will see how that works itself out a little bit later on. This will be interesting to watch, by the way, because we should start seeing green paint slowly filling up these proliferators. Although, interestingly enough... okay, what it's going to do is it's going to go through its yellow paint first. And then so it's going to empty out, so it won't combine. It'll completely empty out, and then it will fill back up. All right, I have to go, like, now to go get some additional resources. So, there it is. Here's my auxiliary storage. Let's go ahead and land here. And I'm going to just put that there, that there. Yep, these will go in there. We have some oil in our inventory that just, yeah, doesn't need to be there at all. Not even remotely. It's not required. There we go. All right, so we got rid of that. We have some water in our inventory that doesn't need to be there. So that can be easily solved by just dropping it there. And I think that's probably enough space for a massive titanium shipment. Let's go. And this is going to be a pretty quick trip as well, aside from the actual travel time, which it will take a moment. Notice how much easier it is to speed up now that I have that upgrade to my suit. I didn't even consume all of Icarus's battery, speeding all the way up to full speed. That's part of the reason it's a quicker trip. Although, frankly, I wasn't even thinking about that. I was just thinking about the fact that I'm going to land, grab a bunch of titanium, and come right back, because I am trying to make rapid progress through the tech tree. The best thing is, what we're progressing toward is the very thing that's going to enable us not to have to go back and forth like this. Plus, it's just nice to see your ships taking off and carrying stuff for you. It's a beautiful thing. For those of you wondering about the warp drive and the usefulness of it in going from planet to planet, you can absolutely use it in situations like this. As long as you have enough warp, they're not called warp cores, warp charges really, to do it, because you consume a warp charge every time you fire the warp drive, basically, almost like a weapon. As long as you have enough of them, you can use it to rapidly jump between planets so that these trips, when you do have to make them yourself, are minimized. Now, that then begs the question, well, since you're automating everything, Hadrian, what would you make the trips yourself for? Well, at the end of the day, in terms of getting things built correctly and setting up the entire apparatus so that it functions, you always have to be present for that. There's currently not a system in the game. This could change in the future, but there's currently not a system in the game that allows for remote construction and management. And I don't know that they would add a system like that, because as cool as that would be, it would also take away from the traversal aspect of Dyson Sphere Program, where you're actually having to go from place to place. It's like adding fast travel in RPGs, which for many of us is a hit or miss affair when it comes to exploring game worlds, because you don't necessarily want to be able to move instantaneously from place to place too easily, because it cheapens traveling from A to B. And so it would be very similar to that. All right, so we're here. Bots are already bringing more stuff, but this time we're going to help them out. We're going to just grab everything in those stacks. All right, so that is a full shipment of titanium. And then some. Let me grab even more. Perfect. And what I'll do is just make sure that these bots have brought me everything they can. It seems like they're still stacking everything up. Oh yeah, see, I can stack some of these items even higher. So I'll be able to grab even more titanium in just a moment. All three of these resources that you're looking at here will be exported. Power situation on this planet seems good. Also, I would guess that the silicon situation is also good. Yeah, it is. We're in much better shape, but part of the reason for that is that there's no longer a giant pull on my silicon, because I've got completely full processor storage here. I wonder, is it possible? Nice. You can expand the storage capacity of these. That's really handy. I didn't know whether or not that would be doable, but when you have a logistics hub at the top, the logistics distributor, you can absolutely expand the storage capacity of all of these. I love that. That's so awesome. Good for them. Okay. All right, so that's just about everything I can bring in this particular trip. I did say it would be a quick trip, so let's make it quick. There we go. Not quite as far to travel this time, but again, because we have that battery upgrade, look at what we're able to do now. I'm getting all the way up to full speed without having to stop and wait for anything to charge. And I still have energy to maneuver. This is one of the amazing aspects of just natural game progression in Dyson Sphere Program. The ability just to watch these things that are more effortful in the beginning get easier and easier. It's so well balanced and satisfying that it never really gets old. Obviously, I've played, this is probably my 8th, 9th, or 10th, somewhere in there, full run of Dyson Sphere Program where I've started from the beginning and I've been moving towards a point where I can build a Dyson Sphere. And some of those runs have been quite long, so this is my 8th, 9th, or 10th in total. Some have been false starts. Some I've done with friends. So it's probably been more than 10, to be honest, if I count the multiplayer. Which there's a multiplayer mod for Dyson Sphere Program, although from what I understand, they will be adding proper multiplayer as part of the game at some point in the future. I think that's part of their plan. But at the moment, the only way you can play multiplayer is through a mod, but it works quite well. And there are playthroughs on YouTube of people, I think Arumba and Stejo have done they've done a lot of really good Let's Plays together over a number of games, mainly grand strategy games, but they've also done Dyson Sphere Program together, which is fantastic. I think it's been a couple of years since they've done that. All right, so we are rapidly approaching. We've got a little bit of speed help from the sun there. That's another thing we'd be able to more easily escape now that we have this situation, now that we have such a good battery in Icarus. We'd be able to get away from the sun a little bit more easily. As soon as I drop off this titanium, we'll start to see progress on research again. Okay. Landed almost perfectly where I needed to. Nice. That's a huge shipment of titanium there. So that is going straight where it needs to. Let's also go ahead and drop off these. All right, that's all that. What else? Okay. So now that that's done, it looks like Proliferator paint is at work. Level 2 Proliferator paint is at work here. That's great. How's our power situation then? Nice. 80.4. And what that implies to me is that our situation over here, oh no, it's still not completely resolved. All right, let's take a look at how the situation is back here then. Are these backed up again? No, they're not. So you can see that this line is emptying out now, which is what we wanted. It's just that the power situation is much better now that we're burning some of the energetic graphite. So that's good. Let's take a moment then and look at what else we've unlocked. For instance, we've unlocked the supermagnetic ring, which is a very important component for the Mark III conveyor belts, which I haven't built yet at all. I'm already building graphene, but I need to build supermagnetic rings. So we have these turbines coming in here, so they can also spit some stuff out in the other direction. Let's see. So they need turbines, energetic graphite, of course, and they need magnetic rings. So let's take a look. Turbines there, magnetic rings there, energetic graphite here. Yeah, this looks completely doable, in fact. It looks more than doable. Hang on. Here's what we'll do. Oh, this is going to be sweet. Probably a little bit more complicated than it needs to be. But at the same time, I think it's going to work. So why don't I... Yeah, we'll go ahead and build it to there. Alright, so some of you might already be seeing what I'm thinking about doing. This is happening. We're going to build a splitter. Oh, wait, no, we're not. Hang on. That's not going to work, is it? Let me think. No, it won't. Because I still need that. I need those resources to go that way still. So what we will do instead, we do need a splitter just for this particular stack. So let's see if we can get that going. There we go. We can put one there. And actually, no, we need a different kind of splitter. There we go. So this will be the original line right here. Problem solved. And now we'll have a second line. So we're going to have a couple of things happening here. We're going to have this line come this way. Oh, I see exactly how we're going to do this. Let's see. Yep, I can see it. All right, so we'll build those two about there. And then interestingly enough, hang on. Yeah, I see what we need to do. So it's going to be a little bit of spaghetti here, but it's worth it. And spaghetti is satisfying to some people too, like having the belts work together like this. It's not always a bad thing. So I'm not going to trash it too much. It's kind of a playstyle preference thing, ultimately, I would say. All right, so now these will go here. So now what we'll have to do... Okay, now there's only one challenge that I'm seeing unfolding already. Although I think I can already guess what the solution will be. So the challenge that I'm looking at is that I need to feed these resources into position now, which I can do by moving them over here. Hang on. We'll delete you. And then we'll have you come straight here. And then have these lowered like so. And we're going to have two machines, two assembling machine Mark IIs, which I have exactly the resources to make two of them. How about that luck? Technology is moving along again quite nicely. Let's see how our... Yeah, still have thousands of titanium. I'll probably need to go back to get more, one or two more times. That would be my guess. All right, and then we're going to build two of these side by side. Turbines. Energetic graphite. Let's delete that. Don't need it. At least yet. And then we will delete there we go. And now we are producing supermagnetic rings, which are totally not arc reactors in any way. Let's go ahead and just acknowledge that right out of the gate. Not arc reactors. So now that we have those, very importantly, we can go ahead and start making level 3 conveyor belts, which will be something we focus on in the next episode of Alpha Andromedae while we are still waiting on some of these mainline technology upgrades to progress. One technology that's coming up is the vanes utilization technology. Recall that I noticed we are slightly underperforming on our metal production here. And the vanes utilization might largely fix that, Although it's just a 10% increase in speed, so I would imagine we probably will need to go ahead and tap another metal vein. I'm looking around for one now. We actually have one sitting in the middle of all of our power plants here. So that's probably something we need to do, because I can tell that we just don't have enough metal coming down the line for a lot of what's happening here. So we're only at 50% production with our iron ingots, and we're only at 50% production with our magnetic rings because of this shortage of metal. So we are going to need to link another metal deposit in here, and thankfully there is plenty more. Hello, look at our resource ships just dutifully moving those back and forth. But we will save that for another episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this one, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to follow along. If it's not your first time or even your second, look for the join button to access unique emotes, badges, and other perks. New episodes are coming out every day at noon US Eastern Time. Comments are always welcome. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time.